bowling. We're gonna talk bowling. Let's share this. Oops, did that wrong. Share newsfeed. Welcome back. I don't know how many people are gonna show up for this one. Might have blown the wad on the first one earlier, talking about the coronavirus junk. Pretty interesting, though. I gotta tell you, there's some interesting people in the world. Very interesting people. Hey, what happened? Oh, there we go. What's up, Nate? What's going on, guys? Everybody, gals, everybody around. You want controversy? Come to the right place. Can you all hear me? Just making sure you can hear me. No beer this time. Workout was good. Workout was real good. Sweat too much though. That's what fat people do. Turn it up. I can't turn it up. Well, let me go get a mic. I might be able to hook up a better microphone. Hold on one sec. Because otherwise I'm just on the phone. Ugh. That's me. Mickey Mousc. All right. How's that? Can y'all hear me now? He's gone mad. I have gone mad. Am I good? Can you hear me? Good? Maybe? Better? I was good before. Well, who told me to turn it up then? It's weird. Bowler X should still be working properly. Everybody should still be able to get whatever you want from Bowler X. It should be good. Shouldn't be an issue there. Yes, I am going mad. That's why I'm going live 2 days in or two times in one single day, just because I find it pretty funny. So you should go look at some of the comments on the last live. Some of the people that saying they're unsubscribing from me because I have an opinion about the coronavirus. I had one person tell me that I'm not a medical professional, so I shouldn't have an opinion. Whatever. Got a beer for you, Sam Adams Summer Ale? Perfect, I'm in. Bring it on over. Nope, I'm sticking to water tonight. Just water tonight. But yes, I'm not allowed to have an opinion unless I'm a medical professional. So, I was a professional bowler at one point, which technically I still am. So, I am allowed to have an opinion there, right? I should be good. I just want to make sure. So that way I don't overstep my boundaries. But, I mean, an opinion is opinion, right? It's just how I feel about something. So I should be able to express what I think is happening and what I think is going to happen, correct? I mean, if we didn't have that, what would we have? But you know what they say about opinions. But anyway, let's try to keep this one a little bit more bowling related, since this is a bowling channel. Till August. If you're I don't know. I don't know. Man, some of these people and their predictions with this thing going on until August or September of this year. I mean, I could see it happening just because of like the election. It's election year, but man, there is no way this thing should. With the news that came out, where they just came out and said we screwed up the numbers. That just proves that the shutdown probably shouldn't have even happened. But it is what it is. Top 3 balls for down, lane, and heavy oil. Let me see. Down lane. What if I drill? I mean, I'm going to go with the Redemption solid. I mean, I know it's more completely the entire lane, but Kevin, I don't think you're wrong. I don't know for sure, and I can't prove it, but I think some truth will be coming out soon. So Redemption solid, I think, is an overall one of the better solid asymmetrical balls right now, and it still reacts down lane. The Astrophysics was probably the strongest ball down lane I've ever seen. One more. What's the next one? Maybe the Nemesis. Motive's Nemesis was pretty strong down lane. It was a pretty good one. I mean, the Emerald IQ is very strong down lane. See, the Gold Jackal just didn't jive for me. I didn't really see anybody that really liked that ball. There wasn't much. Maybe in League it was okay, but a lot of tour guys didn't really like it. But I don't know. Chad Murphy and his take earlier on the state of the USBC. No, I didn't watch it. I have no idea what he said. So, is he shutting everything down for the most part, or is he still waiting? Idol Pro for me was iffy. All of the idols, they gave me they were okay. If I had to do it over again, I think I would drill all the idols a little bit stronger. I don't think I drilled them strong enough, so I got a little bit over under with just about every one of them. I have family that works for the CDC. Believe me, it's funny hearing all the crazy things people are saying. What do you mean crazy things? Because a lot of the info that I use comes from the CDC, since that's pretty much what the US goes by, is what they say. And when they came out and said 200 million cases with 2 million dying, and then we have to shut everything down, otherwise we can't handle it. At that point, we're all like, okay, that makes sense if that's actually plausible. And in the beginning, it looked like it could happen until you really dove into it and you looked into it and you saw, wait a minute, no, this thing's been here for a while. Most people have already had this thing. Just look into it a little bit, you'll figure it out. But we're not getting into that because I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not I'm not allowed to have that opinion. And I'm going to keep that to myself now. But bowling, best solid bowling ball, I think right now, I would have said the Halo originally. It's been my go-to. I don't have enough games on the Redemption solid yet, but it is going to replace my Halo because it's the closest thing. Maybe even a little bit better, I'm not sure. The UFO was good too. Where was all this panic during the H1N1? Yeah. Another one of my talking points. I mean, it makes no sense. 60.8 million people affected by H1N1, and everybody was saying, calm down, it's not that bad. And then all of a sudden, we have 70,000 people, 80,000 now, because of our testing. I just looked at the numbers, actually. I went back and looked at that, and it was close to 500,000 people have been tested, and 370 some thousand have come back negative. Just so you know. Have you bowled a Peterson? I've never bowled a Peterson, but everybody keeps saying I need to. And I want to. I just haven't been able to set up a time when I've actually been able to make it out there. Go Buckeyes, whatever. I can't even say anything. They've been better than Michigan for a long, long time. Michigan's been pretty disappointing. Every year you think they're going to be good, they end up being junk. When you come into the East Coast to do a clinic, yeah, I mean, I have to talk to Lee. Lee might set one up. Maybe we'll set up a clinic and go do one over at the Bowler X shop there at Town and Country. We'll see, maybe. Doing more breaking down the pros. Yeah, I mean, I might. we'll see. I'll probably put some stuff together. The only reason I kind of stopped doing those because it took some editing, man. I had to do like a Zoom call and then screen capture, and it was kind of pain in the butt. But and they really didn't get that many views. But I mean, I got to figure something out to do over these next couple of weeks while we're sitting around playing with our thumbs, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for this thing to pass. Whatever. Mississippi. Kevin, I can go anywhere for a clinic as long as there's somebody to set it up, arrange it, get everything all organized, and then recruit people. And as long as I have a minimum amount of people that makes it worth the while of going, where I'm not just basically going there for free, because I know everybody wants everything for free, but I do have family, I do have bills, and I do have things that I have to pay for. So I do try to at least make it worthwhile. As much as I would love to be able to just go everywhere and just teach everybody all the things that I can, I kind of have to, try to make some minimums. So if you want one, let me know. We'll organize it, put something together, and try to make it happen. How many clinics did you do with Phil? What did you think about the young bowlers? I only did the 2. I did one when I was out there last time, and one when I was out there for the World Series. We didn't do anything major. We just did. The first one was more of an organized clinic, putting people together, doing some class time and then some on-lane time. The second one was more of a Q&A and on-lane type of thing where we just work with the kids. So. Yeah, Phil's doing a pretty good job out there. He's got himself a nice little clientele of people he's coaching now. And talking with a couple of the pro shop guys and some of the bowlers out there, like they're pushing them his way because he's one of the better coaches out there, So he's not just some PBA guy who's seen a little bit of success. So he's going to try and teach people stuff. He's actually somebody who cares about trying to figure out the game and trying to get people to help figure out the game. And he, me and him see things pretty close to the same when it comes to coaching. It's not about trying to build machines. It's about trying to use what people have to help people use their current techniques and make those techniques better. So tip on my tape nightmare. I'm not sure what tape nightmare that was, but you're welcome if I helped at all. Water. It's good for your body. Drink more every day. Ugh. All right, what do we got here? Holy cow. Do you know Gary Lyles? Name doesn't sound familiar. What does taking your hand out of the ball mean? And is it what you're doing to throw it first? Yeah. So basically, you're trying to lower your rev rate. You're trying to not spin the ball as fast, so that way it doesn't hook as much. So that way you can play straighter angles. That's pretty much what they're saying there. What ball do you think would fill a gap between a Motive Trident Abyss and original... Oh, go back. An original Motive Primal Rage? Low rev player. Well, the Abyss was one of their strongest balls they ever made. The Primal Rage was one of their best balls they ever made. You could pretty much go... I would probably go with like a Venom Shock. Would probably be pretty good right there. Recently started consistently bowling. 140 average. I can get to 200-ish very often on one hand, no thumb bowler. It's comfortable. People tell me it's a bad habit. Nah, if you don't want to use your thumb, don't use your thumb. There's a reason why a lot of two-handers are the most successful bowlers in the world right now. So if you're figuring out a way to be consistent with it and you can still do some of the things, I mean, you're going to get better with it. Obviously, if you're only a 140 average bowler right now when you're fairly new, you're only going to get better. And now that you're starting with that type of a technique, it's probably easier to get better with that technique than it is with your thumb. So I don't think you're doing anything wrong. Don't listen to them. But bowling, it's fun. Promotion Tour. It must be an overseas release. I've never seen it. I have Mickey Mouse in the background. My kid just went to bed. Went to bed early. I kept him up. He didn't nap at all. So when he was crying on the live stream earlier, he was about to fall asleep on the couch after we got off. So I took him for a walk, came home, made dinner, and then he went to bed. Took a bath, went to bed. Pretty good. But yes, bowling. This is the game of games, the sport of sports. It's really difficult because there's just so much that goes on with it. All the variables that are in this game make things really, really hard. And people, like we talk about people who don't call it a sport, or they're like, oh, it's not a sport. There's no physical activity with it. You don't need to be strong. But there's most definitely an advantage of being stronger. You know, if you can, it's mostly technique, don't get me wrong, but it's, there's an advantage if you're stronger for sure. Match one between you and Mason. You were struggling a bit for a few shots. That looked good. Can you describe what you were seeing and how your ball was reacting? Oh, that was a long time ago. How do I remember that? Match one was where we played right of 15. Well, I mean, to be honest, in that match, I just drilled those 3 balls. So I had that pure diamond, the redemption solid, and that motive ball, that ripcord flight. I just drilled them and just did the reviews on them that morning. And then we decided to do the challenge videos. So I didn't really have a good feel for those bowling balls yet. So I was kind of just guessing on what to use. And I pretty much did the entire time. But they still looked okay. So it was more or less, I felt like I was back out on tour because I was just guessing with ball reaction. I wasn't sure, you know, which ball was doing which. I knew for sure that pure diamond was cleaner. But between the redemption and that the ripcord, those both were pretty early rolling bowling balls. So I had to figure out which one was which. Now looking back at it, I think the redemption was overall more throughout the entire lane. It was early and strong down lane, whereas the ripcord was early, but it was real smooth. It wasn't as strong down lane as what the redemption was. So it kind of, I had to try and figure out exactly which ball to throw when, and a lot of it was just a guess. But I stuck with that pure diamond, that Legends ball, because it was just so clean compared to the other two. I could get it through the front part of the lane pretty easily. Hurry up with my nachos and beer. Trump remains every American's president, whether you voted for him or not. I have no opinion. I mean, I'm not exactly a Trump fan, but I'm not against him either. I think he's an absolute moron when he gets behind the microphone because he doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't have any speaking ability. He repeats himself an awful lot, and he's an egotistical maniac. But with that being said, I would much rather have somebody who, at this point, isn't as related to politics and to politicians. He's not a professional politician, so he's not being bought. He's not, he's making stupid decisions on his own, at least. He's not just taking money from people to make certain decisions like a lot of the past presidents were. So at least not at this point. It doesn't seem that way. Could be wrong. He very well could be just getting paid off and bought and just doing things that, whatever party wants him to do. We'll never really know, I don't think. I don't think the president has a whole lot of control anyway, but yeah, I really don't have opinion otherwise as far as that goes. I just know that a lot of what the Democrats stand for, I don't necessarily agree with. I have my Christian values, so I'm super against abortion. We're just going to leave it at that. So I have a hard time ever voting for anybody that has anything to do with abortion. So that's just how I go. I make that first. That's my first rule of thumb, and then kind of go based on who's trying to help the country the best, who's trying to at least make changes and do some things different. So I don't know. Went to a 4-step approach and still having trouble slowing my speed. Any suggestions? Maybe take longer, slower steps. That might help. Instead of trying to take super tiny steps, because tiny steps sometimes can lead to trying to make fast, tiny steps because you're trying to get to the foul line. Maybe take longer, slower steps. How do you open your hand at the top of your swing? I mean, I don't know. I don't try to do it. It just kind of happens. But maybe focus on this part of your elbow. See if you can't get that to point towards the ceiling more. So when you go this way, it's to the ceiling instead of this way where you're down or to the side, basically. Or maybe think of your palm. See if you can't get your palm to go up. You know, just a couple things. You gotta figure out a thought process. You gotta figure out what you gotta think about to make something happen. Been bowling for 3 years, got my rev rate around 350. Been stuck there for a while and haven't been able to increase it. How would I continue to increase my rev rate? Get your thumb out faster. If you are using your thumb. If you're using your thumb, that's what rev rate's all about. Get your thumb out, and then your fingers are out just after and quickly rolling through the ball. So I just did a video at home where you can actually work on that at home. But I have a couple other of increasing rev rate videos as well that it's mostly about getting your thumb out faster. And then there's other techniques with your elbow, with your wrist that actually go into it as well. So you're going to want to look into it. Have you ever used a Moxie bowling ball? No. And I can't use a Moxie because they represent a different online company that I can't promote because I work with Bowler X. So I have not. Seismic, I have the same thing. I haven't used any of them either. Fossey is corrupt. Is that the doctor? The guy that is saying this chloroquine isn't going to work, but that yet every doctor everywhere else that's tried it has had 100% approval rating or 100% success rate with it. I know the French doctor used it on 5 different patients, and the Chinese reported back that they tried it 20 times and it cured. It didn't. Well, it helped cure all 20 people with it. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about all that. Two weeks before I started this crap started, I had 680, 690, 670, 650. You'll get there, Kevin. Don't worry about it. Keep working. Best bowling venue you bowled in? Oof. I'll just say South Point. That place is pretty sweet. That stadium in there, that new place. But actually, I like a lot. Whenever we go to nationals and they build the stadium in a convention center, I love bowling in those places. Those places are so cool because the ceilings are so tall and it's just like it's so loud. It makes you feel like you're like at a rock concert or something. I love going to different places. I hate going to Reno because we're always at the stadium, which it might be different this year because they redid it all. But well, if we go this year, but I know, like when we went to Vegas and it was at a convention center rather than at the South Point, that was cool. Advantages between sliding and not sliding. Less knee pain, I would say, if you're sliding. Um, but I think the advantage to not sliding is you don't have to deal with different approaches everywhere. You never have to really adjust. I've thought about going to planning because I've had trouble in the summertime with a lot of places. People tell me all the time to take muscle out of the ball. I struggle with this. Should I use a heavier ball? No, I mean, a lot of it is just with shoulder movement. You got to pay attention to your shoulder and make sure when it's at the top of the swing, you don't collapse and pull down with your arm. You have to just let it fall. Yep, Professor, I forget how they pronounce it. Raoult in France. Can I send you a new ball with my specs to have you drill it? Also, is today urethane balls different than urethane balls I used to? Yeah, you can go on Bowler X, or you can get a hold of me for MRB Classic Pro Shop, and we can drill it one way or another. But yeah, well, you can do that. We can definitely figure that out. Is this today urethane balls different than urethane's balls? Yes. Today, something about the chemical makeup of how they're doing the urethane today is different than what it was back in the day. Today's urethanes hook so much more, and people are swearing that it just because it's not pure urethane. They think there's additives and stuff in it. I don't know for sure. Some of them they do come out and say yes, there are other stuff in it. It's like they call it reactethane basically, but yeah, they are different, definitely. Just bowled at South Point in January during National Military. Yep. The Orleans was nice too. I used to go out there for the high rollers and stuff, mini eliminator and all that when it was out there. Would a low flare layout work on PBA Tour? Like trying to play down and in using third arrow of the mark. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it does. But they never really get tough out there. They don't get hard enough to where you need that. Maybe game one on some of the shorter patterns, but that's about it. And when I say not tough, I mean tough for them guys. You know, like where they're struggling to shoot 210 maybe, whereas for, you know, most others, they're struggling to shoot 200. So a little bit different. They're struggling to shoot 190. Do you or Bowler X have a booth at Nationals? No, but I know Lee was talking about trying to get something like that put together. But I don't know if that's going to ever happen or not. I can't tell you for sure. Have you thought about expanding on your arsenal building videos? You need more one-on-ones with the Pro Shop with Mason. Yeah, actually, I got a hold of Mason yesterday to see if he wanted to like do a Zoom call and go and make a video basically where we chat about things, because obviously we can't get together right now. But he's busy fixing up his house. His wife's got his honey-do list going for him, so he's pretty busy over this break, and he's going to get his stuff done out there. So hopefully soon I'll be able to get him on here, and if he hasn't disowned me for having an opinion on coronavirus. Do I still work with Turbo? No, I didn't. I do not. I haven't been there since last basically February, March or something like that. So it's been a little over a year. Does your boy that looks like Kanye West that you were practicing with have his own channel or videos? No, not yet. But we're going to get him to. He's going to make his own videos here shortly, hopefully. Hope I get to bowl the PTQ with the Lady Pros in August. Yeah, hopefully. I think you will. I think this thing will blow over within a couple of weeks here. My bowling shoes, I get them straight from Dexter. It's basically another one of my sponsors. But if I had to get my bowling shoes, I'd get them from Bowler X. Yeah, you could wear a regular pair of shoes. They just got to be non-marking. They can't be black marking or color marking or anything. You can wear a normal pair of shoes, but yeah, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want, basically. Am I missing something? Oh, I keep missing stuff. Dang. Why isn't it just keeping up? Recommend me a pair of shoes. I love my Atonic Tour Ultras, but they also don't make them anymore. Hated my Dexters. How can you hate your Dexters? If you hated Dexters, okay, I'll tell you right now. I used to wear the Atonic Stabilites, the black dress shoes. They were the only other shoe that were wide enough that made me feel like I actually had a base. And then once those were gone, and they don't make them anymore, obviously, I had to go to the 6s from Dexter because they actually had a wide enough base. And now they've reconstructed them to make it to where they actually last, and they don't just tear up like they used to. So now I'm using the 6s again. So that's where I would go. OSU shirt, shoot. I'm going to call the governor over in Ohio and tell him to keep the lockdown going even after everybody else opens it. Well, you can keep them OSU fans away from us. My orange colored water. It's just water with it's like a pineapple and mango flavoring. 0 calories, 0 sugar, all that good stuff. Just something to give it a little bit more because plain water gets boring after a while. Pro tour layouts on your videos. I mean, there's no such thing as like a pro layout. I mean, people try to do tricks. They try to do like little trick layouts and stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's all based on the person, how they throw the ball, what they're looking for the most part. 40-foot flat red square. I mean, it's going to be like the U.S. Open pattern, I would imagine. So you're going to want steep angles for most part, and you're going to want to keep the ball close to the pocket. Don't give it away. Make your spares, because it's going to be tough. Do a review of the physics. I should, because I need to get one in my bag. Maybe I'll call them and have them send me one so I can do a review. That's what I did with the Emerald IQ. I wanted one in my bag, and I knew people wanted to see the review, so I had them send me one. Yes, the last PBA event with no crowd was very strange. I have, it was really weird to me. If I were Tom Clark, what would you do to get more money in the PBA for those that missed the cut? If it wasn't for YouTube, it would be hard for Brad Miller and Kyle to make a living. I don't know. They've been bowling pretty good. They've been making money. I don't know. I don't know if because I mean, I don't know how much merchandise they sell, so they could be making good money with YouTube and whatnot. I mean, I know how the advertisements and stuff works, so I can't imagine that they're making a killing with advertising. I mean, maybe they are doing something there, but uh-oh, there was a super chat. I better get to that somehow. How do I get to that? Where's it at? Where's it at? There it is. Oh, you didn't ask a question. Why not? But thanks, James Miller. I appreciate that. And everybody that does super chat donations, that's pretty sweet. Appreciate you. But let's go back to if I was Tom Clark. That's an interesting topic. I'll try to say things without getting fined. No, he wouldn't fine me for this because it's just, I've actually had the conversation with him a little bit. What I always wanted to see, and I know it's probably not feasible for the PBA, but what I've always wanted to see, and I think would help, and the reason why it's so hard to make money for the PBA Tour, for the PBA Tour to get all these sponsors and stuff is because, or to actually make money, it's not like golf. Like with golf, you have a crowd that comes to watch, and you get hundreds of thousands of people through there out on the course watching the golfers come by in each hole to be able to make their money on the course. And so the courses can actually make money, and the PGA makes money by having all these people. Plus, at the golf courses, they have all kinds of sponsor tents, all kinds of, they're just sponsor tents. There's beer tents, there's food tents, there's actual product tents where you can go and try products out for their clubs, for the balls. You can try all kinds of different things. So I would like to see the PBA try to go that route. I would think that in an arena or a setting like at South Point, what we could have done, and it would go against what they tried to do. Like they wanted to do one squad, so it was 120 bowlers, maybe. I forget. Yeah, it was 120 bowlers that bowled one squad, so there was basically 60 bowlers on a side. You could limit that field back to 60 bowlers instead, because you got to remember the amount of entries don't really add to the prize fund. Okay, so a lot of the money that's there, most of the money that's there, it's all driven by sponsors. Like the World Series always adds about $700,000 or 400 and what was it? About $400,000 to the prize fund, and they're $1,000 entries. So you're talking $120,000 in money that gets brought in just from the bowlers. So now you have over $750,000 in the prize funds that they're giving away. And it was probably more than that this year. I didn't even look at the math this year, but we had this conversation from the previous years. And we had somebody else do a super chat. Let me see if they had a question. It's James Miller. Oh, just Douglas. $2.99 from Doug Harris. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Check my mic connection. Are you sure? Should be okay. I think you're crazy. But anyway, so what I would like to see, what I would want to just see with the PBA is if I were doing it, I would try to have used both sides. On one side, I would have had sponsors and booths. I would have taken advantage, or I would have tried to taken advantage of the booths that are there. Like you see all those when you go to nationals, you see all those booths. You should have a setup like that at every single PBA event. How feasible it is, I don't know. The logistics would be a little bit weird, I guess. My audio is strobing. I don't know what that means. But anyway, so I would be trying to build sponsorship, bringing them into there to have other things that people could actually to do other than just watch bowling, because not a lot of people actually just want to go in and just watch bowling. They want to make it an event, so there has to be somewhere where where you could have a good time. So maybe outside of the bowling center, there needs to be like a row of tents or something to where people pay to participate, and call it like there's live music or something, or a band or something. Maybe not a band, because I guess that would be a little bit weird, but you know what I mean. Food trucks and sponsor tents where you can try out the bowl. On the other half of the bowling center, you have all the other companies out there where you can do a demo, where people can come up and try all the new bowling balls, all this different type of stuff. And then most of the events could be hosted in big stadiums. Maybe not a stadium, but like where we have these people. I get so many messages from people constantly asking me, "Can we advertise on your page?" This and that. And I know they're scams, but geez. But anyway, so using the other side, being able to do the demos and stuff, and doing them in convention centers to where they're actually building the bowling center in those areas, and then having separate lanes for the demos and for the tents and other, basically having a whole separate place. Because just like at the golf courses where you can go through all these tents, and you can get autographed, pictures and buy autographed memorabilia and do all that different types of stuff. I think, and I have no idea how you could actually make it work other than just throwing something together and just saying, okay, let's go. This is what we're going to do. We're going to try this. We're going to get a hold of Ford, and we're going to have them hold a tent, and we're going to have one of the new Ford F-150s there and advertise it, and have people there to talk about that. And then we're going to have all the bowling ball companies out there to where they're going to be advertising their equipment and letting people try it. And we're going to have Cisco out there, kind of like another Bowl Expo in a way, at just about every single one of them. Anybody that's been to Bowl Expo knows it's been pretty cool. It's really neat for all these companies to get out there. You get all these video game companies that they sell video games to the bowling centers, and they sell like Cubic AMF is out there where they sell their lanes, and it's for the proprietors and everybody else. So I think you and the rest of the YouTube guys that bowl, like Brad and Kyle, H&H guy, Luke, should all have a YouTube bowling tournament. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, I guess. I wouldn't know how it would work, but it could be pretty cool. But anyway, that's kind of my half idea of what I would have done. I think I would limit the entries even more than what they are. I would never let a tournament go above 100 entries. And again, that's just my opinion. And the only reason I say this is because there has to be, I liked where they went with the exempt field. I think it meant something then to become exempt. Ask Jason Lundquist how he feels when he made it through the qualifier to become exempt, when he made it through the tour trials. What was it, back in 2008 or something like that? He made it through. He'll tell you that's one of his biggest accomplishments that he, appreciates was making it through there. And you get to bowl a full season as an exempt pro where you are guaranteed a check every week. I think that should be the goal. How to get there? I think they had the right idea. The money wasn't right because they didn't have the sponsors to support that kind of money going out. I think maybe now with Bolero and what they're trying to do, I think they can kind of get back to that and make it to where, okay, there's a 64 man / woman exempt field. Well, I guess it doesn't even have to be women. They have their own tournaments. But just a 64 person exempt field to where 64 on points every year, you're exempt. So then you get to bowl every single tournament. You're automatically guaranteed at least a last place check, and then you can obviously make more money based on how you bowl. But there's always the danger of, falling out of the exemption status or whatever. So maybe it's not 60. It should be like maybe the top 40 are exempt, and then you have 24 other spots from a tour trial or something to where people are trying to get in. So you have to be top 40 in points to be able to stay safe for next year and not have to bowl tour trials. And then anybody below that has to bowl tour trials, and they take 24 spots. And then everybody that's not in those top 64 has to bowl a PTQ, and you limit it to 96 entries every single week. So you would then have, what is that? 64, so 32 more entries after that. So 32 spots come from a PTQ every single week. Somehow, some way, maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. Tom Clark and company has done a lot of them already. And maybe it's just been bad timing. Some of the things that they've tried, maybe it was just tried at the wrong time. Maybe we need to try them again. Maybe it'll be more successful this time. Who knows? I have no idea. But I can tell you, the guys out on tour do appreciate the single squad and not having multiple squads, because then you don't have to worry about squad equity. You don't have to worry about being on the correct squad. So that way, if A squad bowls really good and the pattern becomes just a little bit different somehow, B squad doesn't bowl as good and only gets, of the 16 that make the cut, only gets 5 in the cut. We don't have to worry about that because it's just one squad. Everybody bowls at the same time. The only problem now is just your cross, making sure if you hit the wrong pairs at the wrong times, you could be in trouble. So anyway, back to comments. What is this Ghost Games doing? Yes, I have bowled at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno many, many times. That's where I won my Eagle out there. It's funny that AMF Bolero owns the tour, but you never see an AMF bowling ever used. You will. What's my favorite pattern? Anything long. I don't know why. I like the longer patterns where my ball doesn't hook at my toe. What happened to Rhino Page? Rhino actually is now running a new bowling center where it's owned by a casino, and he's also working with Big Bowling, which is a new bowling ball company, and they're making new bowling balls now. So he's going to be doing a little bit with that as well. I don't know all the details there. I just know he's doing both of those things now. Have you bowled in Springfield, Illinois? Yes, I believe I have. Because I used to live in O'Fallon, Illinois, when I was going to McKendree. Fairview Heights, Illinois. It's kind of funny. I learned the whole sales gig, and I give this company credit for why I actually am good at sales, because I took a job when I was living in the St. Louis area that I actually worked downtown St. Louis, and I had to go business to business selling paper products, selling office supplies, ink and paper products, and paper and receipt paper, just all that stuff, pens, desk stuff. It was crazy. So you walk into a business, didn't matter what the business was, and you try to get yourself in front of the decision maker and you sell them on why they need to buy stuff from you rather than going to Office Max or Office Depot or any of that stuff. It was fun. You heard no a lot, which you get used to, but you figured out exactly why and how you get good at selling things to people. So who knows? I mean, I think it was fun. So obviously no more Storm for Rhino. Nope, no more Storm. Did you ever bowl against Pikeville Bears here? Yep. And actually I did a clinic for the Pikeville girls when I was at Turbo. They came up and then they went and won the national championship like 2 weeks later. Ha! I take credit for that. Do you think bowling as a whole is growing or shrinking? Bowling as a whole is growing. League bowling has been shrinking. So when you look at bowling and how many people are bowling, it's technically growing. And the centers that are doing well have adapted to understanding that the majority of the money comes from open bowlers, not so much from your league bowlers. You're still trying to have your league bowlers, but the good centers are doing a good job balancing both, doing the parties, the corporate stuff, that kind of thing. But yes, there's still a lot of people bowling. It's still like the second most participated sport in the world next to soccer. But it looks like it's not growing because you're seeing a lot less leagues. You're seeing leagues die. You're seeing people sanction less. So to the traditional bowler, bowling seems to be dying. But when you actually go into a bowling center on a weekend or on a weeknight and you see how full it is, bowling's not really dying. It's hard to, and you when you go to like a college tournament, those places are crazy packed. And then you go to junior gold and stuff like that. No way you can look at that stuff and say bowling is dying. The problem is getting the college bowlers and the junior gold bowlers to continue to bowl after college and after junior gold. And that's why the PBA is so important. It's because we need to get and have something for these kids to strive for, somewhere for them to go, and not just as a hobby. Like right now, I hate to say it, but it's still just kind of like a hobby. There's still, unless you're a top 5, top 10 guy, you're not going to make much money. Or unless you can find a way to pick up a paid sponsorship through one of the companies to where they're paying you a salary and paying your entries, there's just not enough money out there to be able to make a living. And I can tell you right now, there's not very many of those jobs out there. There's not very many companies looking to pay bowlers to throw their stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is. You got to really have an influence. I mean, and that's another reason. Like, I probably will never be on staff with somebody again because I respect my influence. I understand my worth, and I'm not going to take a staff position just for free stuff. I mean, I know how much influence and how many bowling balls I sell every year, so I'm not going to. I guess I kind of get sick of making money for everybody else at one point. So, and that goes nothing against Bowler X or anybody. I mean, it's my job. That's what I'm going to do. But you just get to a point where you start to realize what you're worth and that you have the ability to do more with yourself than just throw a bowling ball. I got a really itchy nose. What in the world's going on? That coronavirus going on. Sheesh. Keep my hands away from my face. Could you get a job with Bowler X? Unfortunately, that's just a family job there. All the family just works at Bowler X. I don't think he's doing any hiring other than that. I kind of just got lucky with what I'm doing. If you had to sign with a brand, who would you sign with? I think I just answered that without even seeing your question. I wouldn't. It would have to be a good chunk of change to get me to sign with them. I don't know what else we got here. Muskegon, grew up in Muskegon, Michigan. Now live in Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma's a rough area for bowling. Not a lot of centers. Happened to all the ball companies that used to be in Michigan. Huh? You still got Motive and you still got Brunswick. Well, I guess technically Brunswick's made in Mexico now, but their headquarters is still in Michigan. How much do free agent pros pay for bowling balls during a PBA tournament? Most guys still don't pay for bowling balls. Even if you're not on staff, a lot of times when you drill a ball out there, you're asking, one of the ball reps, hey, I'd like to drill this ball. Is it possible? And then usually what they'll say is if you're a no name or if you're not one of the big name guys, they'll look at you and say, well, I got to make sure that I got enough for my guys first, and then sure, we'll try and work something out. So, but they don't charge for them. They either tell you yes or no. Basically, there's no charge for them. It's just it costs like $45 to get it drilled on the truck. That's all. I have no idea what beat the champ is. $7 a game for open bowling on weekends leads people to bowling once or twice a year, but you're still filling the place every night at those prices. So you have to ask yourself, like, is it worth? Do I bring in a league that can fill the place that's only paying me $11 a person for lineage, and then I'll make a little bit of money off of beer and food, or and they take up the center for almost 4 hours, or do I do half of that and do a half league, leave the other half for open bowling, um, and charge a premium for bowling? And now I'm getting people cycling through there on a waiting list, paying all that money, plus eating, plus drinking, and it continues. And you're getting, it always ended up being you would make about $40 an hour off of a lane for a league, and it amounted to about $150 an hour for a lane during open bowling when you add everything up. So it's a business thing. I've managed 3 different bowling centers since I've been younger, and I mean, it's really hard to because I'm a bowler. I always try to be understanding with the league base and try to get them to understand our position as, look, we're a business, we're still here to make some money. um, so we made sure that our leagues were always Monday through Thursday, no Friday leagues, except for like senior morning leagues and stuff. But Friday nights there were no leagues, and then Saturday and Sunday obviously were the big days for having the people there. Um, but we did our leagues on Monday through Thursday. Usually the league started about 6 and they were done by 9:30, and then after that it was all open play. So you try to cater to both, but you don't always. Obviously, you have the traditionalists who are real mad about it, but they get over it. Being independent definitely is an advantage, and being able to throw what you want, expand your knowledge. Yeah, but it can be frustrating too because there's so many bowling balls. I'm not proud of being a Michigan fan, but I am a Michigan fan. Yeah, TV contract like Fox News, Fox Sports, the Fox deal is a big deal for the PBA. That's a pretty good deal. They get a pretty good chunk of money out of that. So hopefully the ratings continue to climb and that deal gets bigger, and then you can start adding some money in from there. Am I a fan of Jim Harbaugh? I don't think I am. No, I'm not. I think he's an overrated coach, but I think he's the best chance we have right now. That's all I can say. Kyle Sherman says he pays $50. Yeah, he pays to get it drilled. He doesn't actually pay for the bowling ball. The truck charges. Did Turbo get mad because you were making videos in their headquarters? We're not going to get into that, but essentially it was a lot to do with the videos that I was making. But we just had a disagreement on it, and that's all there was to it. PBA bringing the trick shot challenge and the mini games. Nah, don't like it. I think we stay away from that stuff. Keep bowling the way it is. $2 a game for games. Yep. Looking into ways to strengthen my wrist without hurting it again. Do you have any suggestions? Um, No. I mean, I don't. I mean, I guess it would depend on what your injury was. I don't know what you had going on. I mean, there's always wrist strengthening um, techniques you can use. There's weight training type things you can do. I would just maybe YouTube stuff. Look on Google, YouTube, try to see if there is some certain things that can help you. I don't want to give you any ideas that might hurt you worse. So I'm gonna stay away from that. I grew up on wood lanes, so I enjoyed bowling on wood lanes. Um, it's just very rare now. You don't see it very much. Do you use any technical equipment during lessons? Nope, don't need to. I used to use Specto at Turbo a lot just because I'd always have somebody come in and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm looking here and I'm hitting here," and I'd look at them and I'd be like, "You're hitting where?" And they'd say, I just hit 12." And so I'd turn Specto on and say, "Okay, try that again. Let me see you hit 12." And so they'd throw and they'd hit like 17, and they'd say, "See, that was pretty close to 12." And I'd take them over to the Specto and be like, "Yeah, it wasn't 12." So it was just a way of like, look, I mean, the only reason you're hitting further left than what you're looking because you're lining up further left than what you should be. So it was a great tool for getting people to understand you were lining up way too far left to try and play too far right. So and that's what usually leads people into walking and drifting back to the right as well. But no, right now I use a camera and I will replay video for a person if I can't get them to feel something. But otherwise, it's all feel, it's all technique, it's all just getting them to understand what needs to change. And if I need to show them, I will show them. But all that technical stuff, sometimes it's okay to get fancy with it, but you don't always need to. You're not a Michigan fan if you're not proud of being a Michigan fan. I am a Michigan sports fan. So I'm not strictly Michigan a fan. I'm a fan of Michigan, Michigan State. I will root for all of the Michigan teams, not just Michigan, unless they're playing each other. If Michigan State and Michigan's playing, I will root for Michigan before Michigan State, because we are a divided household. My wife is a State fan. I am a Michigan fan, so we go that way. Favorite NFL team? I'm not fan. I'm not proud of this one either. I'm a Lions fan. I mean, I always have been, and maybe it's because I like the underdogs. I'm always rooting for the team that always sucks to do well, but it is what it is. Charges for the ball drills, but don't the bowlers drill their own balls? No, not all the bowlers do, and you're not actually allowed to at tournaments. The truck has to do it. It's part of the rules. Yeah, that's probably true, Joe. Centers don't want PBA events because of losing weeks of, because it's really hard to make money. Goes back to exactly what I was saying. Getting enough people in there to make it worth your while is really tough. So a lot of the centers that are hosting PBA events and stuff, they're diehard fans. They're bowling fans, and they want to help, the PBA, and they want to help do those things. So they still host them. Favorite bowling movie? This isn't going to be popular, but I'm not a huge fan of Kingpin. And the only reason I think it's a good movie, like I thought it was funny. I'm not a fan of it just because I think it portrays bowling in a negative light. I think it gives it that everybody always thinks of bowlers as beer drinking, big gut, cigarette smoking non-athletes. And Kingpin does a heck of a job with, portraying that type of image. So I'm not a big fan of that. I think there needs to be a new bowling movie out. And I thought it was supposed to be. I thought there was supposed to be a new one coming out, but I haven't seen anything come out. But there needs to be one that's actually a little bit more realistic. Are you willing to analyze a bowling ball arsenal and make recommendations? I try to do that with a lot of the virtual lessons when they ask. If they want a virtual lesson, we can make that your virtual lesson to where you send in all that stuff and then we kind of go over it. But if I were to actually try to give recommendation, like my inbox is full of people who send me messages like, "Hey, I got this ball, that ball. What should I be doing? Do I need to fill this gap?" And I can't get to them all. I try to go back and get to some of them, but there's just so many. It's so hard to get to them all. But yeah, I definitely when the people who sign up under Patreon, and for those, I get to them. You know, those are my priority because they're committed enough to actually pay for the knowledge. So, not that I won't help people. It's just I have to try to make it fair. What do you think about bringing the PBA playoff series? They did some years back also. I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know. That was that white ball was a Legends. It was Legends. The pure diamond is what that was, Keith. Should the PBA have more telecasts of the PBA league during their seasonal broadcasts? Try and have more professional bowlers on TV. I honestly, I think quality is better than quantity. Um, I think they need to. I personally think the shows could be better production wise. I think there's a lot they could add to them to make them better. I think Randy and Rob do a pretty good job with, the commentary and all that. I think it could get better. I think there could be more educational pieces in it to try to get them everyday bowler, but there's only so much time. They can't do everything. So at some point, you kind of have to figure out what do we want to make sure we have in here. I think the last show probably was a great opportunity to put a ton of educational stuff in there because they basically spent the first half hour just talking bowling. Um, so I would love to see more TV shows like the Cheetah Championship back in 2009, where they basically followed the entire tournament and the entire show was about the entire tournament through the match play, through qualifying, through all that stuff. I think a lot more of that would be pretty cool. Not just flow bowling, but doing the entire lead up. PBA league should be eliminated. More serious tournaments should replace this. I don't know. I think the league could be doing some good things. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of how the crowds are the way they are. I think that's a little. I think they're starting to draw more attention to the crowds than they are to the bowlers. I think that can be a little changed, but you should check your positive access pretty much every year. We're a product of our environment, so if one year all of a sudden they decided to change the pattern and it hooks a little bit more, generally your PAP is gonna change a little bit, get a little bit closer because you're trying to spin the ball a little bit more to get the ball to delay and not hook as much. So um, or at least not hook as much in the front. So yeah, I would be checking it every single year just to make sure you're right on path, right on track. It probably won't change much, but even a half an inch is going to make a little bit of a difference. Hermitage really regional in July. That's when I keep getting messages from people asking me if I'm going there. So I'm guessing I probably should go out there. No, if your positive access has changed, there's nothing to be alarmed with it. Like I just said, it's just product of your environment. I saw PBS professional bowling movie way back. I used to wear the nines, but they were too narrow for me. I need the wider shoes. I love the wider shoes rather than the narrow shoes. My balance already sucks, so the wider shoes helped me a little bit. Which is better, short pen or urethane? I think they both have their place, but I think in most cases, a short pen probably is a better option. But that's just my opinion. If you could only bowl with one ball for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Oh boy. That's a tough one. Probably an IQ tour, just because it's so versatile. You can hook it. It'll hook on anything, and it'll go straight if you need it to. Have you ever watched Marshall Holman's Maximum Bowling? No, I have not. Maybe I'll check it out. Do you like the Bolero Elite series? No comment. I mean, I think it's okay. It's fine. Big fan. Hope to meet you someday in Ohio here. I mean, just about everything that I teach as a right-hander can be applied to a left-hander too. So you just have to let me know what you're trying to accomplish as a left-hander, and we can always work on it. It's not a big deal. Track proof. A lot of good things I've seen on that. It'll look good out at the World Series. So keep your eye out on that. I'll do the review as soon as we're done with this silly lockdown. Pitch Purple is iffy. I cannot. It was too clean for me, and it wasn't. It was just. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just too clean. I needed something to be a little bit earlier. And even when I hit the surface of it, it was. It just gave me a little bit of over under. I gotta go get rid of some of this water. So I'll be right back. All right. What else we got here? Yeah, the silver SST6s. Yeah, mine actually started to flake a little bit too. So I ended up getting the black and red, and I haven't had a problem with those ones. Those have been pretty good. Do you also watch other bowling ball reviews? I watch bits and pieces just to try to get some ideas. And then I always resort back to how I do it because most people's reviews are showing mostly strikes, or they're editing them and showing in fake time, what they think of the bowling ball. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I think Luke does a pretty good job. His are pretty well real. I mean, even though they're still edited. The only thing I don't like about Luke's is it seems like he's reading off of a piece of paper during the whole thing. That's what it looks like to me. Maybe he's not, but that's just what it seems like. And I like to keep them unscripted. Like it's just off the top of my head. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I feel. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. So maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's right. I have no idea, but that's just how I try to do it at least. I'm bored. Fine. Oh. Sorry, Pizza Master. I could use some pizza. That sounds good, actually. No one talked bad about him while he's gone. Ha! Were you happy with the Brunswick uppercut? Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out where it will fit, but shut the bathroom door? What do you mean shut the bathroom door? You don't like my noise? You're fine. It's probably you heard me washing my hands is what you heard. Sheesh. Yes, you did hear the sink running. You lie. Do you think my average will improve if I get reactive? I only own urethane. Did pretty good this year. Yeah, generally, a reactive ball is going to hit a little bit harder. So I would, or at least it's going to give you a little bit different ball reaction, a little bit more down lane reaction. So yeah, I would definitely look into it. I haven't seen much of Tamer bowling reviews. If I could pick any doubles bowler, who would I choose? I would probably choose Mason because I think we know each other's game pretty well, and we've been working together for almost a full year now. So I think we would work really well in a doubles tournament. I think we're really similar on the lanes as well as far as mental. I mean, I think he's better mentally than I am, but we both have our fry outs, which is pretty cool. It's fun. We could hear you pee. Plug your ears. Should have never stopped production of the Brunswick Ultimate at Nirvana. No, what they should have never stopped production was with the Ultimate Inferno. That ball was ridiculous. Mason was on tour for a little while. A lot like me. He didn't see a ton of success just because he wasn't out there long enough. He didn't stick it out. Are you a fan of the two-piece balls? I mean, I don't have an opinion either way. I don't. I would have to do a full study to see if there's any difference between the two-piece and three-piece. I haven't looked at any studies that USBC's done or anybody, so I don't know if there actually is a big difference between them or not. I've heard that they're different, but I don't know how. Do some pros smoke weed before they bowl? Yes. Yes, they do, and it's bad. And some of them do other things as well. So we won't name names on all that, but yeah, there's some stories that could be told for sure. Yes, I'm going, John. Yes, I'm going to be doing Bowling Faithfully videos. My issue with it, I guess it's not an issue. It's just when I'm doing those, I think I just need to put a bunch together and just start posting them. And unlike this channel, like most of these are just off the cuff. I'd usually just put something together and then post it the same day. The Bowling Faithfully ones, that's a hot topic. That's a tough one. And I'm not nearly versed as what I would like to be with the Bible and with things to be able to just off the cuff make videos without feeling like I'm doing a poor job. And I don't want to lead people in the wrong way or give misinformation about something. With bowling, it's different because I have a pretty good handle on how this whole thing works and understanding that everybody's different when it comes to this game. So anything can work in this game there. But if I lead somebody in the wrong way when it comes to the Bible, it can definitely it can hurt somebody. So I want to make sure I do it right before actually just coming out with a whole bunch of stuff on that channel. Do I play Fortnite? No, I do not. I don't play video games anymore. I try to get back into it. Like I mean, I had the Wii up here, sitting up here, and I used to love Mario Kart and all those other games and Wii Sports and all that other stuff. And then Nintendo 64 back in the day and original Nintendo and all that good jazz. I used to play it all the time. And I tried to play it again. Maybe I'll play a little bit more later tonight. But I just can't get back into it. I don't know why. I just can't do it. It just is boring. After 10 minutes, I'm just like, how do people sit here for hours and play this crap? Like, I don't understand it. Hive projected, you are welcome. I like doing videos. I like teaching. It's fun. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a teacher. And then I found out how much they made. And so I'm like, yep, I'm not going to be a teacher. And then I became a bowling coach. And I'm like, yep, I should have became a teacher. But hey, here we are. Do you have tips on how to decrease rev rate? Take your ring finger out. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I have no idea. Keep your thumb in longer. Try to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. Just don't accelerate as much with your hand, maybe. And Pizza Master's on a roll here. I think he's rolling joints on him on his own there. Good grief. I never had an original Brunswick Danger Zone. Never had one. My first bowling ball was a Rhino, original black Rhino. Rhino Pro, technically. Was it a Pro? No, it was original Rhino. It was just a Rhino. It was a black urethane Rhino. And I had that thing. It didn't fit me, but it was my stepdad's at the time. And man, I used that thing all the time when I was trying to learn. And then one of the very first bowling balls I bought was I have no idea. I had some hand-me-downs until I got to like high school. I had a speed zone and a combat zone that were given to me. Again, that didn't fit me. And then, oh, the Thai Messenger was one of the first ones I bought. And my first 300 was with an El Nino from Storm. And then once I finally started getting into it, I was bowling leagues a lot more then, and I was like 17-ish. I bowled adult leagues once I got out of high school, or once the high school season was over. I said screw it, and I just went into adult leagues. And one ball I remember was Ebonite Illusion. Many people probably don't remember it, but it didn't. I struck so much with it. I had so many 800s and 300s with that ball. Just chucking it up the track, up like 8, 9, 10, just throwing it fast up the track area, and it always rolled over the thumb. It always thumped. It was thump, 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 thump all the way down the lane. And I don't know why. I laid it out a couple of different times, and I couldn't get it off the thumb, but it struck. So I just kept using it. And then after that, I bought a Hot Rod Pro Stock, and it was the same type of thing. It didn't roll over the thumb, but it let me do that same thing. Just throw it hard and straight, and I struck forever with that thing. And then shortly after that, I drilled a Vapor Zone, the original Vapor Zone, and an Ultimate Inferno, and I fell in love. Like, those balls were ridiculous. I even had I drilled a Morich ball, the Weapon of Mass Destruction, I think it was, the gray, ugly thing, and it was sweet. Like, I used that thing everywhere. That was when I was really getting into bowling, and I started bowling some sport tournaments and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. That was fun. I miss the old days, man. The old bowling balls back then. Some of the track balls. Like when the original Kinetic came out in the early 2000s, that ball was amazing. That ball was sweet. I led Team USA trials the first day. And that's a bitter story there, but we'll leave it. I finished like 6th, didn't make the team. It sucked. But I led the first day, so that was cool. Robert Smith, yeah. Yeah. He had his fun with the ganja. Motive Tank Blitz. That was I'm really iffy on it. That's another one of those balls that you can use on anything. Because it gives you a urethane look when you're looking for a urethane look, and it hooks the lane when you're trying to hook the lane. So it's kind of crazy. What's your highest game on Wii Sports? 300. Yeah, I used to play a lot. I was a nerd. It was fun. JR video and honest junior video. I don't know. Good to see videos and fun, different than most, which is yeah. Thanks, Mike. I think that's a compliment. We're gonna go with yes, that is. Pizza Master, I'm fat. Okay, you sound like Brian Regan now. That's crazy. It probably is Brian Regan saying weird stuff like that. I also have that problem. Do you remember Visionary bowling balls? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Did they go out of business? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. The gargoyles and all those. Yep. Actually, McKendry was on Visionary staff when I first got there. They weren't on that staff for very much longer. We actually ended up going to Storm right very shortly after that. El Nino Wrath. I had an El Nino 2000. And I tell you what, that gold ball, it wasn't even gold. It was like orange, fiery looking. I was in high school, and I had that ball, and I didn't like it at first. And I took it into the pro shop, my buddy Josh, and I'm like, man, this thing sucks. Do something with it. And he took it, and he shined the piss out of it. He just absolutely made it glossy. And he brought it back out going into a match, high school match. And when I say this thing went 55 feet and somebody kicked it left, I'm not kidding. This thing, I couldn't get it out of my hands. I wasn't striking a lot, but I couldn't get it out of my hands because it was so cool to watch the ball go all the way down the lane to the right and it just truck back through the pins. And I stone nined and 4-pin like it was my job, but it was fun to throw. It looked cool. All right. I think I could probably sit here and just read comments and chat all day, but probably not a good idea. No, Brian Regan would say he likes tacos. Yeah, he probably would. Bowler X jerseys run big or small compared to a regular shirt. I don't think they run either way. I think they're pretty close. I usually wear a large and they fit me pretty well, so I wouldn't be too worried about sizing. Whatever you normally wear, I think would be okay. Oh, thanks, Michael. So it was a compliment. I appreciate that. Speak to us about Mo Rich. I don't know a lot about it. I just know Mo um, was the original creator of those bowling balls. So he now he's got Radical. So I just know he makes some pretty good bowling balls. Those were pretty good back in the day, and now Radical bowling balls are pretty good now. So he's a smart dude. Don't agree with everything he says, but he's got numbers behind it, so he's got to be right. But my eye doesn't see what, like he tries. He said maybe it's just because he's talking about league bowling, but he says that lower tilt guys should be using closer to PAP numbers instead of further. It don't work for me. My ball hooks immediately and then just bleh. I tried to do one of his layouts on one of his balls. It was like the max hook, max flip, whatever. And it was like 70 by 20, 70 by 3 3/8 by 20. And the thing flared around the entire ball and then came back and hit the finger holes. So you could see it go down the lane and it would be like, oh, I'm going to try to hook. And then it would get to the finger holes and go, and it would go straight. So I'm like, yeah, it probably shouldn't be. I think my rev rate's too high or my axis is, or my PAP is too close to my, I don't know. It was weird. It didn't work out for me. So I put a hole in it to reduce flare and it got it a little bit better, but then it still came around and hit that hole. So I'm like, guess I'm not doing that layout anymore. It don't match up with me. So, but yeah, what time is it? What do we got here? It is 9:30. All right, I got stuff to do before the wife gets home. She gets off at 11. So I got a little bit to get this stuff done, but I'm out of here. It's been about an hour and a half now. So I appreciate everybody coming out. Everybody that did the super chat. Appreciate that. That was pretty cool. I still don't really know how it works other than their comments pop up first or pop up and they're highlighted and stuff. I don't know. And then money shows up. That's pretty sweet. But always appreciate the support. But I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later. Take care and be on the lookout. Probably come back tomorrow at some point. So see ya.